I am reposting to Facebook. Okay, doing that. I usually do that during the 30-second intro to Twitter and Facebook, but I was running a little late by there. Welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. This is episode 153. And a special episode because guess what? The wine is back for Caitlin. It has been a long 40-ish days. I'm actually ending Lent a little bit early, so Easter is on Sunday, so that's technically when I was allowed to drink wine, but we are cutting it short because guess what? Life happens, and I don't know. We do have an immediate comment on Twitter. Who's ready to drink and talk Giants? We are here to drink and talk Giants, and we're also talking all of the NFL. We're talking all of Housewives. And listen, we've got some good shit coming your way for both football and Housewives. So please tune in across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. And if you're catching us on demand on the podcast, sit down, pour yourself a glass of wine, get in the bathtub, draw yourself a bubble bath, do whatever you need to do, put a face mask on to get relaxed and to get ready for the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. So this week we did poll you, per usual. We're usually asking for questions, polling you, you know the drill. So we asked you 3 poll questions. The questions are as follows. Do you think 4 quarterbacks will go in the first 4 picks of the NFL draft? Which wide receiver will have the better year next season with their new team? Either Corey Davis with the New York Jets or Nelson Aguilar with the New England Patriots. And finally, a Housewives question. Would you want to see Tinsley Mortimer return to the Real Housewives of New York? So let's go ahead and get into these polls. And listen, if you're watching live now and you didn't vote, I'm laughing because we just got a comment on Facebook. The people want the Jen Shah tea. Listen up, people. We are giving you the tea. You gotta hold on tight. I promise you, we are giving you the tea. The tea is coming, so don't you worry. I hope you're thirsty because it is a lot and it's coming.
We got the wine, we got the tea, we got it all.
We got it all. So let's go ahead and get into these polls. So the first question, do you think 4 quarterbacks will go in the first 4 picks of the NFL draft? And as of today, the first 4 picks, things are shifting, people, are the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the San Francisco 49ers, new to this crew, and the Atlanta Falcons. So 58% of you said no, that 4 quarterbacks will not go in these first 4 picks. What did you say?
I think you said no.
I said no, too.
I said yes. As of today, if you're asking me this question, as we did today, I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville. I'm going to say Zach Wilson to the Jets. I'm going to say maybe Trey Lance to the 49ers and then Justin Fields to the Falcons.
Wow.
That's my prediction as of today. I'm going yes. I did make that bold prediction on this show that I think Sam Darnold is going to be traded on draft day. And so I am feeling pretty confident with Trevor Lawrence, definitely, obviously, Trevor Lawrence going 1, but I'm starting to feel more confident about Zach Wilson going 2 to the Jets.
Well, I do love your predictions, and I think some people can call them bold. I think some people can call them safe, in my opinion. I think you can go either way with them. I'm not going to give anyone my draft picks yet. I will save that for draft week, which we do have about 2 to 3 weeks left for that one. So I'll give you them that. I just don't think that one of these 4 teams will be in this spot come draft day. Another team will move down, and we will talk about the movement as to why the San Francisco 49ers are in that number 3 spot soon. But I will tell you that I do not think someone else is coming down. I mean, I do think someone else might come down, and I don't think they're going after a quarterback. If I had to predict the quarterbacks that are going, of course, it's Trevor Lawrence. I do think Justin Fields is in that mix, and I also think Zach Wilson is in that mix as well. Someone told me to get off the fence and to make those picks. I will not get off the fence. I will wait a little bit. It's still too early, in my opinion. Tomorrow is draft month, but again, it's too early. So
it's fun to speculate. As I specified, that's my guess today. Yeah. It could definitely change.
It is fun to speculate, but it can also lead you down a deep, dark rabbit hole of NFL draft nonsense, which has been going on for the last probably 365 days. So
I will honestly never forget the Baker Mayfield draft, because I feel as though it wasn't until like 24 hours before that it started to get solidified, like that the draft, we're going to be taking him number 1. So I don't suspect that we'll have like a different guy at number 1, but listen, things could shake up literally like, new rumors spark the day before. So you never know.
We truly will see as the weeks go on. All right, number 2, which wide receiver will have a better year next season with their new team? Corey Davis with the New York Jets or Nelson Aguilar with the New England Patriots? 53% of you said Corey Davis. And to my knowledge, we actually disagreed with the popular vote here. We both went with Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, honestly, though, I want to say that I felt this was really, really close. And it shows with our poll result.
Yeah.
I kind of went back and forth, and these guys are very similar stat-wise. So then I almost took it further of like, who do I think will have more success like on that specific new team? Yep. Well, the Jets have nobody at wide receiver, so I think Corey Davis is going to have the stats. New England really doesn't have many people at wide receiver besides Julian Edelman, so Nelson Aguilar should get the stats. I gave a little bit of a slight edge to Nelson Aguilar. I liked what he did last year, had a good season last year, found the end zone a bit more than Corey Davis did, and I'm giving him the slight edge.
That was 100% my reasoning as to why too. Nelson Aguilar to me last season was more of a household name. You heard of him a lot more, was doing a lot more things. And, also too, like with the Patriots, and it's funny because my boyfriend will probably kick me in the butt for this. They've done a lot of things during, the free agency, and they're making moves and they're doing things. And I think they're in a decent position in the draft. I say he'll kick me because, they make moves, but that doesn't mean they make the great moves, but they're not bad moves. So if you're building up strength in that team and you're bringing in a strong wide receiver like Nelson Aguilar to go and with someone like Julian Edelman, who was great, but great because he's under Bill Belichick pretty much. Like, I don't know what else he could do like on another team. So I think that just kind of gives him definitely a little bit like of a booster. So they're strengthening their organization regardless, whether you think it's going to pan out sooner rather than later. But so I think that's a plus too, coming into an organization who's making moves right now. So
yeah, the Jets have been surprisingly quiet during this free agency. Like
they have the cap space. Where is it? Like, where are they going to make? They have. I've said this week after week. They are one of the teams that I think surprisingly has a decent amount of dollars in with the new cap space, everything like that. What are they doing? I don't know. It's questionable. So I don't see a lot of teams spending doll hairs during the draft. So I want to see what's going to happen there. So, and finally, we do wrap up with our Housewives poll for the night. Would you want to see Tinsley Mortimer return to the Real Housewives of New York? 66% of you said yes, and 66% of you agree with Katie and myself.
Let's get this higher, though, okay? Let's get this higher.
Seriously, why did some people say no? I think my mom said no, and I'm a little disappointed in my mom.
We did talk about, obviously, we talked about Tinsley and Scott last week, and Caitlin and I both discussed the fact that we would, Tinsley, come on back to New York, especially because I said the scenario of Dorinda not being there. I think that makes it an easier, if I were Tinsley, knowing that Chicago was done, Scott was done, she really did make a nice little life for herself in New York for that little hot minute.
Yeah.
If I were her, I'd be like, I want to go back there. I want to go back to the show. Dorinda's not going to be there. Okay, cool. Like, I feel like she has all, and she needs Martin as her life coach right now.
Oh,
so I think
everyone does. Everyone does.
So I want it. And I think Tinsley should want it. And I think Bravo should want it. So let's bring her back.
1000% agree. So listen, those were our poll questions for tonight. I again agree 100% with Katie that Tinsley's got to come back. Let's bring her back. We want we need that content. We need to know everything that happened with Scott and her. And we also need to see her get her life back on track, get it back on track in New York. We are here to support you. All of the Real Houses of New York fans are here to support you. So let's get that moving. So again, those were our poll questions for the evening. If you have questions for us or just banter, commentary, we don't care what it is. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. So please keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Absolutely. Let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of football, though. First, we want to talk, obviously, about free agency. I know it's not as crazy. It was the last two shows that we did, last 2 weeks of free agency news, but we still have to talk about what's going down. They're not maybe as big of household names. Some of them are, but we are here to report it nonetheless. So, new teams, guys that have found themselves in new homes. We have the Arizona Cardinals signed cornerback Malcolm Butler. The Baltimore Ravens signed wide receiver Sammy Watkins. Which
I definitely thought it was surprising. I'm pretty sure I sent it to, or no, I either mentioned something to Chris, my boyfriend, or I sent it to our friend Jamal, who's a huge Kansas City fan, and just kind of wanted his insight. I thought it was interesting. I thought not that he was like a forever Kansas City Chief. I just thought that the mix was good there, and maybe, he is injury prone, and we've seen that with Sammy Watkins pretty much his entire career. But I didn't think the end was coming in Kansas City. So I think that's what surprised me.
I didn't know that either, but I guess the way I see it is I feel like for Kansas City, there's so many stars on that team that it's really not a huge loss. And in my opinion, it's only a gain for a team like the Baltimore Ravens, who are kind of lacking at the wide receiver position. Yeah. So I feel like, I guess both are winners because it frees up cap money for Kansas City. And Baltimore needs wide receivers. So it's kind of like a win-win scenario.
Yeah.
In that regard, it makes sense. New York Giants still making moves. They signed defensive tackle Danny Shelton. I think that's a good move considering that, we unfortunately had to part ways with Dalvin Tomlinson. So I was happy with that one.
I was too. Adding a big boy to the mix. So we'll definitely fill that spot. Maybe not fill that spot in our hearts, but fill it on the field for sure.
Yeah. Kansas City, bringing in somebody. They signed defensive tackle Jaron Reed. The Los Angeles Chargers signed themselves a backup quarterback in Chase Daniel. And then as far as teams that have re-signed guys, extended guys' contracts, Tampa Bay really keeping this Super Bowl roster intact.
I think it isn't like everyone for like returning.
Yes, like nobody has left. So they've basically given new contracts to like their big names that they needed to give contracts to.
Must be nice.
And like they pretty much re-signed, extended everybody. They are re-signing running back Leonard Fournette. I know a lot of people just thought his career was kind of over almost, like just going down that path. And he had a phenomenal postseason this run towards the Super Bowl. That was a good addition for this Tampa Bay team. The Seattle Seahawks re-signed defensive end Carlos Dunlap. Kansas City re-signed wide receiver Demarcus Robinson. And we had just a couple hours ago, we got the news that Seattle extended wide receiver Tyler Lockett. So
I mean, a no-brainer there. But I guess for me, another. I just looked out the window. It's absolutely pouring here by my house. I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't realize that Tyler Lockett was, on the books to be, look at his contract, extend him, things like that. So definitely smart as shit. So, but I just wasn't really
as much as Russell Wilson clearly loves DK Metcalf. I still believe Tyler Lockett is like a safety blanket. They've played together for a while now, and to still have him on the team with maybe a disgruntled Russell Wilson, it is good to try and keep him happy. So all right, so those are our free agency moves that have happened this past week. And obviously anything big or crazy that happens throughout the week, we will be posting it, to our social media pages and, possibly talking about it on the show next week. Just keep an eye out because there are still some big names that have yet to, either find new homes or get new contracts. So Stay tuned.
It's been a hot free agency. So I think that definitely, if you guys think everything has happened so far, or maybe like the hottest things have happened so far, I would disagree with you. And I still recommend, keeping an eye on things and making sure you are alert. So
absolutely.
Alrighty, so our second big story of the week, and this deals with what we spoke about earlier. So how in the world are the 49ers in that third spot now in the NFL draft? So we do have a big trade alert for you guys. It involves 3 teams, not 1, not 2, but 3. And we've got some draft swapping going on here. So on Friday, so today is the 31st, so last Friday, Ian Rappaport reported that San Francisco traded up from the 12th overall pick to the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft with the Miami Dolphins. And in return, Miami received the 12th pick of this year, a 2022 third round pick, and first round picks in both 2022 and 2023. Adam Schefter reported that San Francisco has been trying to move into the top 5 for several weeks now and finally found a trade partner. So pretty hot off the press there. And I think it, as much as we've seen, I've heard that, San Francisco's come out and said, Jimmy G is our guy. We might not be able to do things without him, things like that.
I don't think they've said Jimmy G's our guy. They've said that they're going to keep him in San Francisco.
They said they can win games with him, and they're aware of that. That was I think the more direct quote, not he's our guy. It was more so.
I think it's BS. I think they are going to potentially keep him on the roster. But there is no doubt in my damn mind that they traded up to 3 to take their quarterback of the future.
Well, listen, they were at the Alabama pro day and whatever, and everyone got their panties in a bunch about that. And I was like, listen, you're not in the top 5 picks without going to every quarterback's pro day. Exactly. So I don't want everyone to get so gung-ho about that. They can still potentially take someone else and shock the world and not go after a quarterback. But is my mind gearing towards quarterback? Absolutely. Of course it is.
And you're right. If you are going up to the 3rd pick and your plan is to take a quarterback, even if in your mind you have one specific that you really love, you're doing your due diligence and you're going to see all these kids. In my opinion, I mentally have it narrowed down to Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I think it would be Zach Wilson if Zach Wilson were available at 3. Right. But like I said, I do, as of today, think he's going to be going number 2 to the Jets. But they're getting their quarterback. I can't even imagine a world where they jump to 3 to not take a quarterback. That would be the most mind-blowing thing. But I honestly, I'm kind of a little bit disturbed about what they gave up, though. Giving up what they gave up, right? For you trade for this year, okay, whatever. And then your 2022 third rounder, but I can't believe they gave up 2 first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. That's a lot.
So whatever you do in 2021 seals the deal for you for an entire 2 calendar years, essentially.
Whoever this guy is that they came up for, or who they potentially get, they better be right on it, because they are giving up a whole lot.
The pressure is on, my friends, in San Francisco. So more on the story, because listen, it is not done here, folks. After Miami's first trade move on Friday, later that day, they went back into the top 10 of the draft by trading picks with the Philadelphia Eagles. So Miami acquired the 6th pick and a 5th round pick from Philly in exchange for the 12th pick. So guess what? Philly is now knocked out of the top 6, and they're actually now behind the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. So for that 12th pick and a 4th round pick and a 2022 first round pick. So now we've got 3 people into the mix here. So
I'm gonna come out and say that I really like this for Philly.
I don't like it for them. I actually think it's very,
you don't like it, or you do?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, I really like it. I think they could still easily get, I think if all these guys, like I said, my prediction is, it was our poll question, that 4 quarterbacks are going to go with the first 4 picks. I think that the Eagles really need a wide receiver. But you can throw in, and who's to say?
Yeah, but Zach Ertz is gone. They could have gotten, what's his name?
A lot of people think he won't be there. But I think at that 12th pick, they could still have a look. Probably not Jamar Chase, but Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, or Pitts.
It's more.
I think they could land one of those guys at 12. And then you pick up a first rounder in 2022. Yeah, I'm down for this. If I was a Philly fan, I'd be happy about this.
I do think that 2022 is the more bright side here. I don't actually think 2021 will be I wouldn't have. Okay, if you're putting against like your like divisional rivals, like you had the 6th round pick, like you could have got someone like Pitts. Zach Ertz is gone. He already requested a trade. He's not going to be on your team. So like I don't understand. Like you need a tight end while you need wide receivers. No one like Pitts has come out in this draft or in drafts to come. Like that is like literally your shining star. Like
but you
for something that you need, and it's a wide receiver happy draft. So
you have Dallas Goedert at tight end. I kind of like him at tight end. Yeah. You didn't like completely have nobody like, and Zach Ertz, he was more of a wide receiver anyways, and he could never stay healthy. So it's like whatever. I think that they're still going to get a guy that they're really happy with at 12, and to then pick up another first round for next year, a first round pick. We agree to disagree on this one because I think that's a huge win. But they also did kind of like come out and say that by like going back, they did kind of throw out the like rebuild kind of story, because I guess it kind of solidifies the fact like we're going with Jalen Hurts this year.
Yeah.
And I think in their minds, which I feel like you should never throw that out there to the press, that like you're in a rebuild.
No, you should. No, this isn't like, I don't even know. Like
it's like playing poker. Like hold your cards close to your chest. Like don't share that information with people.
Why would you? And like, why would you want to like? Almost, it's not like maybe you're not bragging about it, but why would you want that to be your MO for the season?
Right.
That is now your identity.
Right. It's declaring to your players that that's the theme of your season. We're just
so, and if you win games, so maybe you go on a 3-game winning streak, or like, wait, whoa, like this rebuilding Philadelphia Eagles is like the real deal. And like, no, in reality, like they suck. Like I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's very, very silly.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about this for Miami? We didn't talk about Miami yet. How do you feel about this?
It's funny because when they first initially made the trades with San Francisco, I was like, oh, perfect. Like Tua's safe. And I was like, he's good. Like he's their guy. And when they went and did everything with Philly, now they dropped to number 6. I'm like, well, shit, like a quarterback could still potentially fall to 6. And I was like, I got a little nervous, and like, you guys know me, like Tua's my boy. Like I absolutely love him. And I think that he deserves his chance. And he did not play a full season last season. So for someone to say like the pressure's on Tua, or like, this is like, it's too much. Like, listen, relax. He hasn't played a full season in the NFL yet. Like give him his time. Same thing with Jalen, but like, it's funny because like I had that like almost like bipolar reaction. I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh no. But I think it does put them in a good position to get to weapons. So I hope that's how they take it.
I really like this for Miami by coming back and at least getting back to number 6. I like this a lot for them because I was never worried about them, like, as you know, if you're a Tua fan, I was never predicting that they were going to take a quarterback at 3. I
didn't know.
In my mind, it's been they were going to take Jamar Chase, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're at 6. I already said I think quarterbacks are going 1 through 4. I think Sewell, the offensive lineman, would go to Cincy at 5. And so then if you got to 6 and you still get Jamar Chase, I think
why would you pass up on that?
Miami 1, San Fran, that's a long-term project of whether we're going to know whether they won or not.
Listen, Cincinnati, though, AJ Green's no longer there. Would you not go after Jamar Chase?
Listen,
you got a young.
Yes, but
You have your own quarterback's old wide receiver.
But wait a minute. With a young quarterback, right? With a young quarterback who literally just came off a major injury.
You need a line, I know.
About having him a wide receiver or an offensive
line. Absolutely. I 100% agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate as I said. So honestly, though, again, like with assumptions and rumors going around, right now we think that San Francisco will be targeting the quarterback of their future. And again, Miami can still go after top wide receiver, and Philly could grab a solid wide receiver at number 12, like we just discussed. So that's pretty much it from, that story, and that it was I loved that trifecta of a trade. Like, it was very interesting. And that's why I said before, like, guys, like, you might think free agency is kind of burning out, but like that came after a lot of hot things happened. Like, it kind of was burning out. And then this happened, like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So be alert on things, because the draft is like 3 weeks away. So we've got time. So
absolutely. So those are our big stories of the week in the world of football. And Caitlin and I do have 2 housewives stories that were, on slate for our discussion tonight. But as you all know, or will soon find out, some breaking news has happened. I think we need to start with this. Do you agree?
I was just sipping my water, but let's say I was sipping the tea, because we got to start with it.
Yeah, we have to start with this. This is big, big, big news in the world of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So the season may have just ended, but boy, do we have some juicy stuff for you.
The rookies still delivering after their season.
Salt Lake City is like, I think, and with this story that you're about to hear, Andy Cohen and Bravo are probably like, wow, we really hit the jackpot with this.
We nailed it. We
nailed it. Okay, so this news involves Miss Jen Shah. She was kind of a little bit of the villain of season 1 of Salt Lake City. Not a huge fan favorite. And news came out that Jen and her assistant Stu, who we saw, he's the main guy on the Shah squad. Yep. We saw him throughout the season. They have both been indicted by a federal grand jury on fraud charges.
Oof.
Okay. She has been arrested. And federal prosecutors out of New York City sought the indictment, accusing Shah and her assistant Stu of telemarketing/wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. She is to appear before a federal judge in Salt Lake City. And the claim is that Shah and Stewart generated and sold lead lists for business opportunities that did not exist per the indictment. Shah faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted of the charges.
30 years.
I have some more stuff. Now, this is where it gets even crazier and good for TV viewers, right? Salt Lake City season 2 is filming right now. So I have a little bit of a breakdown of this arrest happening.
Right.
And whether or not we're potentially going to see any of it on season 2 of Salt Lake City. So
we better.
We have some details. The cast, the whole cast, was apparently leaving for Vail, Colorado. They were all in a van. And agents went to Jen's house, but she had already left. There was family staying there, and agents went through the house. 2 doors were locked, so they had to call her husband because they thought she might be hiding in there. After they tracked down the van she was in with the girls, they pulled the van over, and Jen actually wasn't in there. The cast and producer said that Jen got a call and had her aunt come pick her up where they were pulled over. She lied to everybody about the phone call and said that her husband was in the hospital. That's a fucked up thing to lie about. Like, just
seriously,
everybody think like your husband's like,
or just say you have an emergency. I don't know.
I wonder if at that point Mary was like, I can't smell you after you come back. Come near me.
Get away.
But it was her husband who actually called her to let her know she was getting arrested.
Oof.
So her aunt
not an ideal phone call from your husband.
No. So her aunt met the van and picked her up. And by that time that they got to the van, Jen was gone. The film crew filmed and 2 other agents walked up to the van, searching the van and talking to producers. They got a ping on Jen's phone. So they got a hold of her in the car with her aunt and arrested Jen on the side of the road. And apparently she's been very, very calm about it. But that she's also been lying through her teeth.
I'm sorry, but you can't be calm about something like this. Like, that means you knew. That means you know you did something wrong. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
and Lisa, we have confirmation that Lisa, Whitney, and Heather were in the van when all of this went down. And then
we need Meredith. Where's Meredith? We need
Meredith. Well, yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like Meredith is just gonna sit back and be like, karma, like this is what you had coming to you for, like, you know, that was a big rift at the end of season 1, especially come reunion time. It kind of solidified Jen being like, I want to still be your friend, and Meredith kind of closing the door on that.
I'm saying no. Yep.
Yeah. So listen, I think Salt Lake City's only been filming for a brief amount of time and already hot off the press. We have this unfolding. Again, this just broke yesterday with more details only coming out today. So we'll see where we go from here with all this and what
I'm here for it.
We'll report for you guys. But that is what we have right now.
Yeah. Like, and if you guys like want intel into like what Katie and I talk about, like not on the show, it's basically like during free agency and like during this shit, it's basically us sending us back and forth, like breaking, and then like having like minor discussions about it. Like literally, this is it, and this was something that we were not expecting, at all. Like,
listen, this is like how we recently had a show where I think we were playing a game, and the question was like, what is a moment that's happened like that you've talked about on the show that you can remember where you were when it broke? And like that, this is one of those moments. I mean, this is big. This is like Teresa Giudice jail.
I know.
Like, I know that we've only had Salt Lake City very briefly, and I'm not saying she's on the same status as Teresa, but I'm saying the severity of this story and what she could potentially be facing actually is worse than what Teresa had to face. So
absolutely,
we'll see how this shakes out. But, you know, Caitlin also had sent to me before, we should bring this up as well. And I had actually heard rumors of this like maybe a month or 2 ago, and I didn't know how real it was or not. Because I wasn't hearing a lot about it. Right. So I was like, is this just in the rumor mill, like quietly? Apparently that chalet that you guys see, Jen's chalet on Salt Lake City, is not her actual home. Apparently she rents it. So who knows if she's like in money trouble. People always question, your husband is just like an assistant college football coach. Like, where the hell is your money coming from? She claims she has like 3 different businesses. You know, the Shah empire can be crumbling. We're going to see what happens. And I want to know how Coach Shah is going to handle all of this as well.
We better see.
Made a comment, by the way, on our Instagram story saying like, if you know straight up, like if you're doing shady deals, if you're doing illegal shit behind the scenes, why would you ever put yourself at the forefront of a reality television show?
Why?
I truly believe that if people like Mike the Situation or Joe Giudice were not reality TV stars, I think judges wouldn't have been so harsh on them. But they are in the spotlight, and I feel as though judges sometimes want to make an example of celebrities.
As they should.
And this is just like, don't put yourself in the press. Like,
what are you doing?
Have everybody know who you are and what you're about. Like, it only makes things worse. So, crazy shit. Woo!
Crazy shit.
Yeah. All right, but let's go into what our other 2 stories were for tonight. They definitely tie in together because one of them is, we did tell you last week that the new Roni trailer came out and that we wanted to break it down for tonight's show. And we also, surprise, surprise, I wasn't expecting it, got a mid-season New Jersey trailer that is super juicy, and we have to break that down as well. But let's start with Roni.
Okay.
We have the season 13 trailer that came out last week. Some things that some points worth discussing. We are introduced, of course, to new housewife Ebony, and I think the big headlines that we got from the trailer and just what we saw is that she is going to be clashing with Ramona.
Oh, the one thing though, she should feud with her on. I was so shook. It's the preview is that Ramona refers to like her assistants and like the people in her house like that are helping her. She refers to them as the help. Like, I need everyone to that's listening right now or watching right now that referring to the help is something from way back in the day, like when slavery was a thing. And that is so beyond racist. It's not even funny. So like the fact that she literally says that in 2021 to people who are probably getting actually paid a decent amount of money to be Ramona singers, freaking assistants, or whatever the hell you want to call them, like getting paid dollars amounts. Decent dollar amounts. It was, and listen, Real Housewives of New York has been a white franchise for a very long time. So does it take someone like Ebony to come in and say something? Is that sad? Yes. But I'm happy that that will be addressed because I literally saw the preview and even before they show over to Ebony saying something, I was like,
yeah.
Did she just say that?
Yeah. Well, honestly, good for Ebony to kind of come in. I love her and Leah and even across other franchises when rookies come in and they're kind of like, I don't care who you are. I'm not going to take shit.
You got to speak up on stuff like this.
So good. And I think they specifically, I feel like I remember the New York ladies saying like, if you come into this group, you need to be able to like stand on your own and stand your ground because we're like tough bitches. And like, I feel as though Ebony will hopefully mold in that sense. Okay, we get to see, I remember this was like a little rumor that came out, like, and we reported about it on the show, and I didn't know how much it's progressed or how serious it was, but we are going to see Luann's male companion. His name is Garth. We did bring him up on the show. Garth. As we advertised, he looks just like that. He's like a Thor, like big, 6'7", blonde, like a Viking, and so we're going to see her get smoochy with Garth.
Let's see it.
They're taking a group trip. Keep in mind with COVID, you know, we're not seeing a lot of like, we're seeing Lake George. We're seeing local type cash trips. The ladies are going to go to Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay, Katie, I got to tell you, we need to go to Salem. You know, I'm obsessed with Halloween. What? You don't want to go?
It's only because like I love Halloween too, but I'm really, really, really afraid of like haunted houses.
No, it's not like that. It's not like haunted houses. They do like witches and like there's like if you ever seen Hocus Pocus, they have like these big Halloween parties. Apparently that's like a real thing. Like it's real. Like I will dress up as a witch. We need to go and do everything. Like I've always wanted to go to Salem, and when I saw this preview, I was like,
all right, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it then if we're potentially going in the future.
We're going.
We definitely see some drunk Sonia meltdowns as we tend to see this. But in the trailer, I bring it up because it sort of reminded me of like her weird random breakdown over like not touching the Morgan letters. It seems like she has a couple of breakdowns like that this upcoming season. And then we do see the ladies in the boxing ring. So you know what that means. We're getting the return of Martin.
When is his boxing ring? When is that open? When is the Russian bathhouse open? Because Katie and I are making a trip to New York. We're getting our therapy session in with Martin, and we are getting our therapy session in with the Russian bathhouse. Like it's going to be a weekend.
I feel like if you buy a future BravoCon ticket, that should be like a VIP package of like you get to go box with Martin and you get to go to the Russian bathhouse.
I am going to tweet that at Andy Cohen right after this, so no one steals our idea. Or actually, I will cut the clip. I'll cut the video clip of us saying that
And we came up with it, so we don't actually have to pay for that package, but it is the top tier VIP package.
And if another Bravo account came up with this, I don't believe you, but you can slide into my DMs with a timestamp. I will give you this. I will give you this timestamp.
Yes. And then one other thing we want to bring up, which we didn't like see that much in the trailer. But after the trailer broke, we've now gotten reports that came out about Heather Thompson. Obviously, you do catch her like in the trailer and you're like, okay, good. She did make her return to season 13, but it was short-lived due to a feud. I hate saying this. Due to a feud with Leah, which
Katie is at a crossroads here.
I really thought like these two would get along.
You did say that when we did hear the rumors of Heather. Yeah. You did say that they would.
I thought that their personalities would mesh, but she does feud with Leah. Ramona invited Heather to the Hamptons for a weekend during production with the girls. But she stopped filming pretty much right after. She felt Leah was acting up for the cameras and that her behavior was demeaning. And from some of the response to these rumors that I've heard from Leah is almost calling Heather like a Karen. Like she's kind of got like a stick up her butt, like maybe doesn't know how to have fun. And so
Karen, that's like the biggest insult nowadays.
You know what? Instantly in my mind, when Leah was complaining about her in that regard, instantly I got flashed back to the don't be uncool scene. Because it was Heather who was the most adamant about like, you brought a guy back, like, don't do that, like was really
But her and Luann were like so much younger at that time. I know I say so much younger, but like season wise, like they were. So like she kind of did, you're right, act like that. And it was
so that was like her being a killjoy in that sense. And it's Leah's kind of making it sound like that's how she was and why they weren't getting along in season 13. We're gonna see it play out. I'm disappointed. I wanted that to work out and I wanted to see Heather come back. Like she didn't have to be full-time, but it seems as though maybe she was going to be a friend
just back,
and be in a good amount of it. And now it seems very, very short-lived. So we'll see.
I'm not at a crossroads, so I'm ready to see it. It might tear Katie apart, but I'm open to the drama.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we have to look forward to. Season 13, New York, I believe May 4th, we said. Can't wait for it. Very excited.
Day before Cinco de Mayo. So what is that? Is it what is the date? Is that a Tuesday? I'm looking at my calendar right now.
Always on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Okay, so May 4th is a Tuesday. So May 5th, we'll talk about the season premiere, and it's Cinco de Mayo.
So margaritas.
We'll have to be in person together with margaritas.
Ooh, hopefully good weather. Hopefully good weather.
We can be outside. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes. We will 100% do that for you guys. If it is, May 5th, good weather. We'll be together live with margaritas. We'll talk about the Roni premiere.
Yes.
It'll be a very, very good day.
Yes, absolutely.
All righty. So we did get a sneak peek into the rest of the season for Real Housewives of New Jersey, which we weren't ready for. But do they always do mid-season previews? I feel like
not always. But after we watched it, I understood why they did it.
Why they did it.
So much that is left to unfold.
So let's get into it, including tonight. Yeah. I'm ready for night. And I know I told Katie before the show, Andy Cohen tweeted out at 1:53 p.m. that tonight's episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey is one for the books. And Andy, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yep.
All right. So a mid-season trailer for the current season of Real Housewives of New Jersey came out. So let's discuss. So we do see Bill and Jennifer, one of our, top running couples of the season. Definitely at the top. Bill asked Jennifer to remarry him. So I don't know. Is it the curse of the renewal vows? I hope not.
Yeah, no. They're solid.
They are solid. And I'm kind of getting the hint at no, because the past couple of days, Jennifer, so clearly she has like 8. How many kids does she have? 8. I thought it was cute. How many kids does she have? Is it like 6 or 7?
5.
It's 5?
5.
Okay.
5.
I don't know why. It's so funny because there's 4 of us, and I always think that's not that many. So but when I see her kids running around, it seems like 8 million. So I kind of feel bad for my parents now that I see. Now that I know there's just one more of them, I kind of feel bad for my parents. But she's been posting like a lot on Instagram the past couple of days. She's walked through each pregnancy. And what I didn't know actually, and she went into detail about it, like with her first two kids, like they were like basically like dirt poor. And like I really didn't know that. Like and like maybe it was mentioned briefly, like when she came on as a cast member. But she goes into detail about everything and just like kind of how their relationship too has evolved. And I very much appreciate that. So after seeing those posts and like, I'm trying to think because it's funny because we see like Joe and Melissa kind of like save face on Instagram. So like, is she I'm like, I don't know. I don't see her and Bill doing that. But so that's why I'm kind of, I don't know if the curse is real. I guess we'll see. If this happens, if the curse is real for this one, I think I will put down in like a written document to all future Real Housewives of New Jersey members, you literally cannot do a vow renewal. You are not allowed to, or any housewife, you are not allowed to do it. And no one.
Yeah.
So we do see Melissa too asking her daughter Antonia about her sex life. No.
You can ask her, but don't do it on TV. That's awful.
And you see her daughter storm off and get very, very mad. Yeah. Listen, my mom these days will ask me like weird questions. She's not asking about my sex life, but she'll do like one-off things. And I'm like, whoa. Pump it. I can't do this, Mom. It's not direct questions, but I can't do it. So we can't. It's not too young. Yeah. We do see an emotional gathering to celebrate Nono. I think that is tonight, actually, on this episode tonight. Okay. I think that's why they're down the shore. So, but there's a lot of tears and there's a lot of good speeches. And I can guarantee you I will get emotional during. If it is tonight, I'll tell Katie I'll text her. I'm crying. It's tonight. But it does look very, very sweet and very family oriented. And we know there's been drama between Teresa, Melissa, and Joe in the past. So if we can see their families come together and truly appreciate Nono, because, we miss him so much. So good there. So we do finally see, as much as we thought the marital issues between Melissa and Joe came earlier in the season, as we were bamboozled by Bravo, I think now it might be the real deal, and we better not be bamboozled again, or I will start a petition and I will riot Bravo. So listen, I will riot. We see it, and it comes from both Dolores and Teresa. So you might hear Teresa and roll your eyes, but the fact that it's coming from Dolores too, it kind of gives it a little bit of a truth serum behind it. So Teresa does say that they're broken. And then we do see Melissa, saying something that they're growing apart and he's holding her back, which she kind of alluded to when the ladies were out in Lake George, when they were on that patio, that he was always up in her grill. And she kind of alluded to things like that. So for her to say that to his face now, and we do see Joe say to her, and I don't know if it has to do with this or maybe just an argument, but we do hear him say, "We're done." I do want to point out, though, that Bravo did bamboozle us with a preview when David did tell Dolores they were done, when in reality they were just in a fight. And he was saying we were done during the fight, which
I don't think anybody actually believes that Melissa and Joe are done.
No,
I think it's that. But
sorry, go.
To have a heated fight, to have a fight get that heated to where you say that to your husband or you say that to your wife, that's okay, you're not actually done, but to even throw that out there is a really big, crazy, hurtful statement to make in a fight.
But that's what I'm saying, with the preview with Dolores and David, you were like, ooh, but then when you watched the episode, it was clear he was saying, we're done arguing about this. That's what he walked away from. So that's an easy argument to have with someone. I'm done with this. We're done. We're not talking about this anymore. So that's what I'm kind of saying. Are they bamboozling us again? Because I will be very upset. Very, very upset. So we will see.
Yeah.
And then also, we didn't really think we were going to get this, but apparently we are going to see Teresa's new boyfriend, Louis. He's here. We saw his face on the preview. His actual literal face and body is in the preview. So we're going to see him. We see her kids asking if she's in love and like all this stuff, and he is there. And all right, we didn't think we were going to get it. So
yeah, it's like a little, like I'm happy. It's going to give us a window into this a little bit. We might not get a lot, but it's more than we thought we were getting. So I'll take it.
I'll take it too. So listen, a lot is going to come. Like we said before, like Andy said tonight was going to be one for the books. So I'm ready for it. So
absolutely. Great season of New Jersey so far. Really enjoying it.
They really have. Like they've pulled out the big guns for us.
Yeah.
So
yes. All right. Well, let's get into our game for tonight. We are playing a game called Them Boys Got Skills. This game is actually inspired by a fan question we got last week. So thank you for inspiring us, fans. And we're going to take a look at each division and rank those teams 1 through 4 based on who has the best offensive skill players, meaning their QB1, their running back 1, their wide receiver 1, and their tight end 1. So not like your whole receiving core together, just your top guys. So let's get into this. We're going to start with the AFC side, and we will start with the AFC East. I will break down who we got on each team, and then Caitlin and I will give our rankings. So in Buffalo, quarterback Josh Allen, running back Devin Singletary, wide receiver Stephon Diggs, and tight end Dawson Knox. Miami, we have quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, running back Myles Gaskin, wide receiver Devontae Parker, and tight end Mike Gesicki. In New England, we have quarterback Cam Newton, running back Damian Harris, wide receiver Julian Edelman, and new tight end, Hunter Henry.
New tight end.
And the New York Jets, we have, for now, quarterback Sam Darnold, new running back on the team, Tevin Coleman, coming from the San Francisco 49ers, new wide receiver on the team, Corey Davis, and tight end Chris Herndon. So, interesting names.
Yeah.
Got a lot of young guys at quarterback here. Have some solid wide receivers, Devontae Parker, Stephon Diggs, have some new faces like Corey Davis, Hunter Henry. What is the order that you have for the AFC East?
All right, let's, I guess, go from worst to best.
Sure.
So coming in at number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Number 3, I have the New York Jets. Number 2, the New England Patriots. And number 1, the Buffalo Bills. So I think you'll see a trend, throughout this entire game is that 3 and 4 were particularly difficult. We'll enter one division, and I will mention where 1 through 4 for me were actually very freaking difficult. But I think that the trend for me was 3 and 4 were actually very difficult. And I got to admit that I think every team has a good strength somewhere, and that's always good to see. So no team was complete shit, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So my order is a little bit different with the, but we do agree, and I think it would be a unanimous type thing if other people were to do this themselves. I am putting Buffalo at number 1. I'll just jump right forward to that. I do think they are the clear cut because they do have the strongest quarterback. And then you pair that with a guy like Steph Diggs, and that is taking them over the top for me. So at 4, I do have the New York Jets. At number 3, I have the New England Patriots. And at number 2, I have the Miami Dolphins. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see our orders, but a lot of them I do believe are going to be mixed for you and I, because like you said, I think sometimes like 1 through 4 could be really close. So it's a matter of what you value, I guess. Let's go into the AFC North. So for Baltimore, we have quarterback Lamar Jackson. Running back, we got young J.K. Dobbins, another young guy, wide receiver Marquise Brown, and tight end Mark Andrews. Cincinnati, we got your young quarterback and Joe Burrow, hopefully going to come back full strength. Running back Joe Mixon, wide receiver Tyler Boyd, and tight end Drew Sample. Cleveland, we have quarterback Baker Mayfield, running back Nick Chubb, that's a powerhouse right there. Wide receiver, you could put Jarvis as one, but we have
Okay.
Odell Beckham Jr. at WR1. And tight end, you have Austin Hooper. The Pittsburgh Steelers, veteran quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, running back Benny Snell, wide receiver sticking with the team Juju Smith-Schuster, and tight end Eric Ebron. Lonnie, what is your order?
This was definitely one of the ones that 1 through 4 was particularly difficult because you wanted, again, some young guys on the list here that you do want to see great potential from, but you don't want to over potential them for sure. So coming in at number 1, I do have the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. And at number 4, I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
We have the same at 1 and 4 and flip-flop the 2 and 3.
All right. I think that might be a trend for this entire thing.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Listen, I actually think the Browns against all 31 other teams is pretty solid at the offense.
That's a pretty solid 4
Baker
names
Mayfield,
right there.
Nick Chubb, Odell, and Austin Hooper. You've got a top running back. You've got a top tight end. Odell, if he could be the Odell he was when he first came into the league.
Or even like you said before, like you can throw Jarvis Landry into the mix, and I wouldn't have changed my number 1 spot.
Right.
You can
Baker
nitpick.
definitely.
Yeah. And I think Baker and the wide receiver, you can nitpick and you can try to go after things. Listen, Nick Chubb and Austin Hooper, I don't think you're nitpicking that much, to be honest. So, but still, at the end of the day, it's a solid 4 core.
It's very solid. It's very solid. Okay, let's get into the AFC South. Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson.
It's hard. That was hard.
Running back David Johnson. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks, and tight end Jordan Atkins. Indianapolis, we have a new quarterback in town. We have quarterback Carson Wentz. Great young running back. He's going into his sophomore year in Jonathan Taylor. Veteran wide receiver with T.Y. Hilton, and tight end Jack Doyle. Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we cannot plug in Trevor Lawrence just yet. We have to go with what we have today. So, Jaguars have quarterback Gardner Minshew, a great, just burst onto the scene this past season, running back in James Robinson, wide receiver DJ Chark, and tight end Chris Manhertz. And for Tennessee, we have quarterback Ryan Tannehill, crazy good running back in Derrick Henry, wide receiver A.J. Brown, and tight end Anthony Ferkser. So I think this could be, I don't know, like this could be a mashup, a mix-up. What do you have?
So number 1, I'm going with the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Number 2 is the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I'm going to plug in the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's more so, QB could change that to make them actually maybe better, or I don't know. But then I gotta listen. Houston for me is just at the 4 right now because I don't care really who you plug in at 4. It's just it's not going to be good in Houston this year. So.
We are same 1 and 2, swapping 3 and 4. I have Tennessee at 1. I have Indy at 2. I have Houston at 3 because, I do look at it's Deshaun Watson versus Gardner Minshew. I do like James Robinson over David Johnson. I do kind of like Brandon Cooks over DJ Chark. The tight ends are kind of even. So I think you really could, as we did, flip-flop 3 and 4. That's just how I had mine.
Yeah, I guess I just struggle with the 2021 environment.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to put that aside almost.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that.
As is. But all right, last AFC division, we have the AFC West. I think this is one of the divisions that I was extremely impressed by. Is this your division?
It's not the one that I was very hard on. I couldn't almost make a decision, but this was, I think I was shocked with how hard this one was for me.
It's a very impressive guys for all 4 teams at the skill.
4 offensive weapons. Yes.
Cool. So let's start with Denver. Quarterback Drew Lock, running back Melvin Gordon, wide receiver Cortland Sutton, and tight end Noah Fant. That is just a team of potential. Like that is the key word, potential.
Yep.
Will these guys live up to it? That's a lot of young guys. Well, not all young guys, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kansas City, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, going to be going into his sophomore year, running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, and tight end Travis Kelce. Just going to come out and already say it. They are my number one out of all 32 teams at the skill positions. Okay. Wow. Las Vegas, though, they got some weapons too. Quarterback Derek Carr, phenomenal running back in Josh Jacobs. You know, going into another sophomore. I love how like we have a lot of sophomore guys that are already like your wide receiver one, your running back one. That's huge.
It warms my heart because I think one of the trends of like, I guess us as Giants fans is that we're dealing with a young team. So we're trying to get to know these players and really understand where they've come from and who they are. But it's good for us because a lot of these young guys we're getting to know across the league now. So it's a good thing.
Right. So we're talking about wide receiver Henry Ruggs III, and then just a great tight end that really has emerged as one of the top tight ends in the league in Darren Waller. And then Los Angeles Chargers, last but not least, we have quarterback Justin Herbert, running back Austin Eckler, wide receiver Keenan Allen, and tight end Jared Cook. I mean, these four teams, they're looking nice. Maybe they just need to all focus on the defense. They're looking nice on offense, right? So I'm crazy interested to see how you rank these. Go for it.
All right. So number one for me, obviously, was the Kansas City Chiefs, and I will go along with you that they are my number one overall here. Number two, and like we just discussed, it's a beautiful offense, the Las Vegas Raiders, and I didn't think I was going to pick that for number two, but looking at these names just written down on paper, they are definitely a two for me. The Los Angeles Chargers come in at number three, and number four, listen, there's potential there, so I don't want four to be, you know, disappointing, but the Denver Broncos do come in at number four in this scenario for me.
Four's not disappointing for this team because, like I just said, I think this is
potential.
These teams, that it's what they're facing up against. You know, put them in their division. They're not going to be four.
Yeah.
But I am same with you on 1 and 4. I flip flop 2 and 3. I have Kansas City at 1. 2 and 3 are super close for me. But I did put the Chargers at 2, Raiders at 3, and Broncos at 4. All right, time to move over to the NFC, specifically our division with the New York Giants. This is what inspired the game last week. We did get asked what team in the NFC East we thought had the best skill positions. Caitlin and I both agreed and said it was the Dallas Cowboys. So let's see how the rest of it shakes out. Dallas at quarterback has Dak Prescott, running back Ezekiel Elliott, wide receiver Amari Cooper, and tight end Blake Jarwin. The Giants, they have quarterback Daniel Jones, running back Saquon Barkley, wide receiver Kenny Golladay. Welcome to the NFC East, baby. And tight end Evan Ingram.
He ruins it for us.
Quarterback Jalen Hurts, running back Miles Sanders, wide receiver Jalen Reagor, and tight end Dallas Goedert. A lot of young guys there. Washington, we have quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, running back Antonio Gibson, wide receiver Terry McLaurin, and tight end Logan Thomas. So let's hear your breakdown.
All righty. So number one is obviously the Dallas Cowboys. Katie and I both admitted to that as much as it, dagger to the heart last week. We did admit that because honestly, look at their names on paper. You can look at their stats. True to form, that is the best, positions here right now. Coming in at number two, and this is not a bias, I am going with the New York Giants because a healthy Saquon Barkley and a brand new Kenny Golladay really boost our stock in this division. So I'm going to lift that up. I do think Evan Ingram actually pulls us down. And honestly, it really depends on what Daniel Jones can do for us this season. So
I think as Giants fans, we're really, really, really tough on Evan Ingram. Whereas I think fans of all the other teams in the league actually think he's really good. And I am going to come out and say I actually still think he is the best tight end out of these four teams have.
take
So,
it then.
Go ahead. Who do you have 3 and 4?
Going in at number 3, I do have the Washington Redskins, and I actually think, listen, at wide receiver and running back,
That's
there's
nice.
it is nice. It is nice, and it actually pains me less because sorry, and I call them the Redskins. My bad. It's the Washington football team. Washington, whatever they do actually pains me less than the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think we've admitted that on the show before. Like whatever they do, I'm like, they're off in la la land, to be honest. Like I don't care that much. So, but that is nice for them. It truly is nice. But again, I can't agree that Ryan Fitzpatrick actually boosts their stock because to me, he's a backup quarterback. And
I do love that you brought it up though, because I do feel like guys like Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin are actually really, really underrated.
Yeah.
And I think those are like in real life football, but also fantasy football. I think these are 2 guys like that everybody should really target.
I think I had Antonio Gibson this past season. I low-key didn't root for him, but and then obviously coming in at number 4 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, you guys made a lot of moves, so clearly fix it. So fix your team.
Lo and behold, it's fitting that we got to the NFC East for our first 1 through 4 perfect match, but I agree with you. Dallas Giants.
You put the Giants at 2? Oh my God. Katie loves our team. Katie loves the Giants.
I just want to say something. I actually really genuinely think that the Giants were an easy 2 pick. I think they're actually really solid, especially with the addition of Kenny Golladay. I think the one question mark, and I know, like I just said with Evan Ingram, I'd still take him over the other 3 tight ends. I think the one question mark is Daniel Jones. And if he's able to pan out, I think that the Giants are a really solid 2 on this list.
Well, listen, Colt McCoy just went to the Cardinals, so we don't have him anymore. So we can't be Colt McCoy season anymore. So it's got to be Daniel Jones.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the NFC North. This is the division of veteran quarterbacks. So Chicago, we have quarterback Andy Dalton. He is on the depth chart right now, listed as, and they still have Nick Foles, but right now he's listed as quarterback.
I think they like tweeted out he was QB1. So that's it. You can't tweet that out. That's it. That's sign, seal, deliver. You can't tweet that.
Yeah. So Chicago, quarterback Andy Dalton, running back David Montgomery, really great wide receiver in Allen Robinson, and tight end Cole Kmet. Detroit Lions, we have a new guy to the team, not new to the league, though. We got quarterback Jared Goff, young running back in DeAndre Swift, wide receiver Tyrell Williams, and great young tight end in TJ Hawkinson. Green Bay, we have quarterback Aaron Rodgers, running back Aaron Jones, wide receiver Devontae Adams, and tight end emerged onto the scene this past season, Robert Tonyan. Who they still have yet to, he is technically a free agent and they do have not yet re-signed him. So they got to get that done. Minnesota.
See it.
Quarterback for Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, running back Dalvin Cook, wide receiver Adam Thielen, and tight end Herb Smith. Break it down for us. Who is your 1 through 4?
My number 1 is the Green Bay Packers.
I think that might be the second best, right under KC overall in the league.
Absolutely. I have number 2, and this is, I got to see what they are capable of, because not only do we bring up that they are sketchy as hell every single year, but you're also scared of them every single year. The Minnesota Vikings. Absolutely. You do. I literally spoke about this with Chris the other day. Like, they can be a bad team, but they still show up on your schedule and you're scared of them. It's the Minnesota Vikings. So, and then you see these names on this list. That is why they come in at number 2 for me. Number 3 is the Chicago Bears. And number 4, I'm sorry, I'm still not sold, even with Jared Goff going to them, the Detroit Lions.
We were close. I have switched 3 and 4. I agree. I've got Green Bay at 1. I've got Minnesota at 2. I have Detroit at 3. And I have Chicago at 4.
Yep.
All right, let's go into the NFC South. Weird to not have Drew Brees' name on this list.
But this was it. This was the one.
This is the one. Okay, I'm excited. Atlanta quarterback Matt Ryan, running back Mike Davis, wide receiver Julio Jones, and tight end Hayden Hurst. Carolina quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, running back Christian McCaffrey, wide receiver Robbie Anderson, and tight end Dan Arnold. New Orleans, right now, WR1 listed as Jameis Winston, running back Alvin Kamara, wide receiver Michael Thomas, and tight end Adam Troutman. And Tampa Bay, the reigning Super Bowl champions, quarterback Tom Brady, running back Ronald Jones, wide receiver Mike Evans, and tight end Rob Gronkowski.
This, for me, after number 1,
is very difficult.
2 through 4 were, to me, interchangeable. And I had to sit down and be like, all right, Caitlin, like, make a decision.
I agree with you.
So number 1, I am going with the reigning Super Bowl champions with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, these guys on the list are very powerful, but as we discussed earlier, like, they're bringing back everyone. Everyone's coming back. So you got to wish that they don't succumb to the 49ers curse of getting hurt, like, and all that stuff. They got to stay healthy. But to me, this crew, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I am going with the New Orleans Saints, despite the Drew Brees departure. If they can shape Jameis Winston into what Drew Brees, I don't want to say what Drew Brees was, but maybe what Drew Brees was in the baby years, in the smaller years. I don't know. You do whatever.
Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas on that list. It's hard not to have them ranked high.
I do question Michael Thomas's injury because it did take him a very long time to come back to this season, and he was still kind of up in the air a lot. So that was one of my question marks that really, like, I really struggled at the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Like, I really did. Yeah. Number 3, I am going to give it to the Atlanta Falcons. As much as I complain about them season after season and how much they give me anxiety because they have so many names out there, look at this list of names. It's a great list of names. And, like, it frustrates me that they cannot win games. And then, again, this is another team, the Carolina Panthers. I gave you number 4, but this should not be insulting that I'm giving you number 4 because look at this division. This is a tough division. Tough. Look at these names. Look at these names. All of them.
It's funny that you struggled, that this was the division you struggled with the most because
you didn't.
we're exactly the same. 1 through 4. So this is our.
I feel like I could have switched it up though. I don't know.
I agree with you that it would have not shocked me if we had like a mix and match, but lo and behold, this is our second division that we agree 1 through 4. So let's give our last division. Always been a strong division, always been a good one, with the NFC West. Arizona, we have quarterback Kyler Murray, running back Chase Edmonds, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, and tight end Max Williams. For the Rams, they've got their new guy in quarterback Matthew Stafford, running back Cam Akers, wide receiver Robert Woods, and tight end Tyler Higbee. In San Fran, we have quarterback Jimmy G, running back Raheem Mostert, wide receiver Deebo Samuel, and tight end George Kittle. And last but not least, Seattle, we have quarterback Russell Wilson, running back Chris Carson, wide receiver DK Metcalf, and tight end Gerald Everett.
Another very strong division. Another one
this was a hard one.
Definitely in that middle section, could be up in the air for sure. So number 1, I am going with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
Number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers. And coming in at number 4, again, not an insult, but the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, that's not an insult because Rams being your 4 team, you've got a veteran quarterback who I'm one of the people that thinks he's still solid. You've got a great young running back in Cam Akers. Robert Woods is another wide receiver in the league that is very underrated.
I 100%
and Tyler Higbee is probably in the top 6, top 7 tight ends in the league.
And we've spoken about this. Tight ends in the NFL are like only showcased if like you're the top 3. So
there are not 10 good tight ends in the league. There's like 7, maybe.
And like I've been following like Tyler Higbee his entire career, and like he's very talented. And we obviously saw him on Hard Knocks, very talented, like good player.
So much so that you have them at 4, but I have them at 2.
Okay.
So I have Seattle at 1. We agree on that. I have the Rams at 2. I believe we both have San Fran at 3, right? And I have the Cardinals at 4 because Chase Edmonds at running back is meh.
Yeah, you're right.
Kind of an unknown with Max Williams. Of course, you have DeAndre Hopkins. That boosts your score right there. And Kyler Murray, not yet sold on him. I would rather have, well, of course, I'd rather have Russell Wilson, but I'd even rather have Matthew Stafford over Kyler Murray. That's just me. That's just me.
And listen, this is coming from someone who does not, I don't like Kyler Murray at all whatsoever, but like I've also been like a doubter of Matthew Stafford for a very long time. Yeah. So I think that's where I was torn.
I know a lot of people are.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, honestly, that was a great game. Loved breaking it down and seeing we've got some really, really strong, solid teams. And I want to give it up for the Giants because I think that they are one of them. At like that addition of Kenny Golladay, because all we couldn't shut up about was that we did not have a wide receiver one.
Yep.
And now we do. And it's time to do work.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
I am ready for it. All righty. Well, that was a great game. So it is that time of the episode where it is get it off your chest. Yes. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, whatever you want. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Sure. This is Giants related. And I was telling Caitlin about it before the show. And she gave me a little bit of hope. Right.
I'm a doubter.
I want to talk about Michael Strahan and his teeth. Unless you are living under a rock, in the last 24 hours, you should have heard about the fact that that award-winning, priceless, like trademark, like great for marketing, beautiful gap tooth smile that Mr. Michael Strahan has. Some video clips came out of him at a dentist office. He's basically saying how he wants to close the gap in his teeth, how everybody was trying to talk him out of it, but he was like, it's me at the end of the day and what I want to do for myself. And he wanted to close it. And they do show a video clip at the end of him smiling. The gap is closed. He's got these big pearly whites. And it did, Caitlin and I agreed, it did look good on him.
It does. He looks very good.
Start with the facts that Caitlin thinks this is going to come out. Tomorrow's April 1st. Caitlin thinks this is a big time April Fool's joke, a big prank.
Yep. Hands down. It's not real.
It actually would work because, you know, when people pull this kind of stuff actually on April 1st, like if this video came out on April 1st, I'd be like, oh, this is BS.
You're supposed to do it beforehand.
It didn't even register in my mind until Caitlin said it tonight that this would potentially be a April Fool's joke because there is like the video, like, and I get it. Like people can do crazy editing with videos and stuff. I hope she is right. I pray she's right because if it's not a joke, I can't tell you. It felt very strange to have such an emotional reaction
to someone's teeth,
and deciding, yeah, you have a gap and I want to close it. Like I had a very disgusted, upset. I was working in my office and I yelled out your brother's name. I was like, oh my God, Christopher. And I told him what happened. He was like, Katie, like I thought something like really upsetting and like messed up happened. I'm like, it is upsetting. Like I was so upset. I was on my way home from work and I called my dad just to say hi. And I told him about it. And he was like, my dad was really upset. Then I got a text from my brother later on at night, like, oh my God, did you see Strahan's teeth? Like people are upset. If this is not a joke, the people are upset. Let's say, I hope Caitlin's right. I'm going to keep it short and just keep it simple and say that. I hope she's right.
Pry those teeth back open, Michael, because we are unhappy.
I can't.
So it's funny. We didn't talk about it as an entire family, but like we're getting together tomorrow, so I'm sure it'll be brought up. But my siblings, like we like mentioned it, and like as soon as like someone like sent like a text about it, I was like, that's not true. Like it's definitely it's an April Fool. Like I can just see it. I can just see it. It's not real. He can't. I don't know. And listen, if it's real, if it actually is real, like Michael Strahan, like you feel great about your new smile, good for you. Whatever. Good for her. Good for her. So whatever.
It's going to take me some time.
All righty. Well, mine is I have a twofer. It's short and sweet and to the point. And I have to make sure I find the receipts about my second one. And I Oh, I don't know. I think I retweeted it way too long ago. So I don't know if anyone will find it. So I won't find it. But the first part is that I was watching old school Real Housewives of New Jersey today. And I was watching the season with Caroline, Jacqueline, Teresa, Melissa, and Kathy, and like way old school, like before even Teresa went to jail, like that old school, like that old, or before her and Joe went to jail. It's like that old school. And they brought the husbands on the reunion and it sucked. And these men were gross and they were going at each other and they were blah, blah, blah. Just made me like totally happy and grateful that we love the men now.
Yeah.
That the Real Housewives of New Jersey men can literally start their own show.
Yes.
And be very good at it and be totally great. And I even like, I had said to Katie before the show, like, even when like Joe Giudice was on one of the reunions, like with like the new men, like I think it got a little awkward, but it still wasn't awful. Like it was great. Like the men love each other. Like woohoo! Like we're moving forward. Like I just love it. Let's keep that moving forward. Like we love it. We're here for it. Keep that. So it was kind of like, so that was an OG moment that I hated. So I hated the OG men, the husbands. So now I'm moving to an OG moment that I love. Eli Manning recently came out and he absolutely loves what the Giants are doing in the offseason. He loves what they're doing in free agency. He has come out and made like certain points. That's why I was trying to pull up a receipt of what he actually said, like word for word. But the New York Giants did tweet it out recently. So I just go to at NY Giants on Twitter and you can find what Eli said. It's probably on their Instagram as well. Listen, he had a lot of great points, and I think that Eli is definitely in position, and I would be for it, to come back as maybe not a coach, but a mentor to rookies and to just players on the team. I think they would really benefit from him being around and just being in the locker room, being, on the field, in the office, anything that he can do. I truly think the team would benefit from it. So I'm just very happy to see that. So quick two-parter of my get it off my chest, but that is it for y'all.
I like it. So let's get you in on time for that crazy Jersey housewife.
The one for the books.
That's airing tonight. That is on at 9:00. Like Andy Cohen said, this is a big one. You don't want to miss it. You also don't want to miss the Real Housewives of Atlanta on Sunday at 8 and the Real Housewives of Dallas on Tuesday at 9. We are less than a month away from the NFL draft, officially 30 days away. So everybody, get ready, get set. I know Katie, I'm speaking in third person. Katie starts reading mock drafts months ago, but now is the time, if you haven't started yet, to maybe start reading some mock drafts, learning about some of these players, trying to pinpoint where you think guys might go. It's going to get interesting, especially with the shakeup of that 3-team swap that we talked about earlier in the show. So can't wait for it. And everybody have a great night and a great rest of the week. And happy Easter if you celebrate Easter this weekend, and all good things. So bye, everybody. Good night.
See you next time. Good night.